presentation. I want to introduce him. It's Randy Honkoop. Most of you know him. He's been doing raspberry farming here in the county for 26 years, and he's been involved extensively at both the local and larger national and state level, trying to make sure that raspberry production continues to be possible and thrive. So Randy, with that, he's going to provide some information about the local agricultural perspective and activities around these water challenges, water quantity challenges.
All right. The Ag District Coalition. What is it? Who is it? The membership of this board, which is a group of local landowner farmers, it's made up of Ed Block, Jim Herringa, Rod Vanderhoof from the dairy industry, Greg Eby and Scott Bedlington from the seed potato industry, Andy Enfield, myself, and Marty Mayberry from the berry industry, and Tom Thornton from nursery and emerging niche crops areas. This group started meeting back later in August, I believe. We have continued from that point on with multiple meetings per month. And I might add that those meetings have been open to all interested parties. We've had a few folks come to the meetings that have not been actually a part of our board. And that's great. That's what we want. That's what we're about. So the question next is why are we forming a new organization? And that's what we are, is a new organization. Many of the water issues that affect most of the farmers here in this county, and this is a county effort because of county issues. Those issues are rapidly bubbling to the surface, if you will, where regulatory decisions could severely hurt our respective farming operations. And some of those issues that we have at the top of our list would be the tribal water rights issue as far as groundwater supply and in-stream flows, the Clean Water Act for water quality concerns with nitrates in the groundwater, fecal coliforms and phosphorus in surface stream water. Another concern, of course, is the Endangered Species Act, what with fish habitat protection and stream buffer zone concerns that landowners are having to deal with. Maintaining adequate drainage is another issue that is big in a lot of parts of our county. Flood control, especially along the main stem of the Nooksack River. And also the potential enforcement by the state of existing water rights or not. So these issues will all be following a legal process that will involve the federal government, state government, tribal governments, Department of Ecology, and of course us, the farming community. Currently, our county farmers have no organization that can legally represent the entire ag community as these issues come to a head. That's the current state of affairs. These are the current existing legal units, and you don't see any one of those that can deal in a comprehensive manner with the water issues and all their intricacies and relationships in an effective way. So that's why we're putting this effort in. So what's being done? The Ag Coalition has been working to define our options, to plot a course of action, to create a legal voice that will enable all of our farmer landowners to have access to those decision-making processes as they come along. Our coalition is contracted with a water attorney and also with an administrator to help us with the process of establishing 4 to 6 new WIDs, or watershed improvement districts, and that would be under the state irrigation district statutes and law. We have also started planning for how to educate the farming community, all of you folks that are landowners. We want to educate you about the current water situation as we see it unfolding, and to help you understand why WIDs would be, or the establishment of a WID in the various watersheds in our county is going to be important. Let's go to the next one. We've tried to diagram out some of what we're thinking about. It's hard to put it on paper in a diagram that kind of captures everything that we're dealing with, but we've kind of gotten to this as one of our ideas. So these new districts will be working with the other existing districts that we have, which is the Bertrand and North Linden. Upper left and upper right hand corner, those are existing already. We have believed that those are good models and systems to work through for landowners. Those groups have legal standing, even in a court of law. And of course, they are taxing districts too. You need to understand that. So these groups are going to, hopefully, at the end of the day, with the establishment of the additional WIDs around there that we've identified, sub-watershed areas, then would have the ability to form what is in the center there, a joint or board of joint control, or a joint administrative board, whatever you want to call it. This is also an ability that is afforded through the irrigation statute with the state, where there would be this new entity created from representatives of each of these WIDs around the county. And that coalition at that point, that group, that board, whatever you want, we're going to call it or hope to call it in the future, would be what we see as the voice for agriculture in water issues. So that's where we're at. One note, Whatcom Farmers Co-op has made a significant commitment to funding this effort. But we do need a lot more partners in order to be successful. We anticipate going through a referendum process in the coming fall with a number of those areas in establishing new WIDs. And it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to take some funding to make it happen. So our goal is to enable Whatcom County's landowners to organize and work together to protect our future. That is our goal, and we're working toward that. We invite your input and your support in attaining that. By the way, we are planning for our first community meeting on January 17 to have a much more in-depth discussion about this for landowners or interested parties. So keep that in mind. There are brochure handout things around on the chairs here in the auditorium. That gives you more contact information with our group and more information about what we're doing, how we're doing it. We ask for your support.
Thank you, Randy. And I think we're going to have to hold questions in order for us to keep on time until after we go through the next session, which is on water quality. And so you guys can actually leave and then come back unless you like sitting there. And that's fine as well. So I'm going to start with just a very quick flip through introduction to our next topic. Next. There, stop, go back. Okay.
Switch mics. You see the mic on there.
Okay, our next topic is actually water quality, and Randy actually mentioned one of these issues, which is nitrates. And has anybody seen this map before? Anybody, any hands up? Normally this map gets shown because it illustrates some problems from a public drinking water perspective. This is a map that illustrates nitrate concentrations in groundwater. Each one of those dots represents a separate measurement in a well that was taken between 1990 and 2000. Anything that's green represents what we know are background normal levels of nitrates in groundwater. Anything that's any other color, and especially red, represents nitrates that are over the background levels that we would expect in Whatcom County. And the red represents an exceedance from a drinking water perspective. I'm showing you this map not because I want you to think about necessarily the drinking water aspect of this, but because it illustrates the need for and the importance of good nutrient management on your property, because this means that some of the nitrates that are being applied to the surface are actually ending up in the groundwater. And the groundwater then actually becomes a source of fertilizer and needs to be taken into consideration when you're actually looking at your crop irrigation and nutrient needs. So that lest you think that 2000, maybe things have changed. We don't have a lot of wells that have been here for a long time, but USGS does have some sites, and you can see the border there, Canada, United States, and I think Linden's up there. The red and the yellow illustrate that we're continuing, the nitrate levels are continuing to go up in the wells that they're measuring on this site. So this is an opportunity for you to save money by better nutrient management and make sure that, and deal with the groundwater problem at the same time. So to assist you in knowing how to do that, I'm going to introduce Bernadine Strict. She's with Oregon State University, and she's going to talk to you about good nutrient management practices. There is a point.